And welcome back to Wednesday night Open Studio. I've been having so much fun with the little announcement things for this, finding Japanese-like things and then injecting this painting. So I hope you guys are enjoying the announcements too. All right, we're moving right along. So we've got this little guy done. I think I'm going to just kind of tuck in, what's going on back here. Yeah, let's do that. So I've got this building. I've also got you guys super close now, a little closer. So there's going to be you're going to see some of this, Japanese earthquakes, because the Visionaire setup is really good. It's the one kind of hitch I have with mine, and I was going for versatility with this. So I got the version that has just the single mount. It's like one single pipe that goes right down through the back of it, and it mounts on a plate, which is great because then you can swap them out for different jigs. Essentially, there's one for guitars, there's one for skateboards, there's one for everything really. The only problem with that is it isn't super stable, which doesn't make a difference if you're working big, but when you're working really small, you get a lot of this kind of, shaking. So I apologize for that in advance, but hopefully it won't be too crazy. All right, so we're going to roll right along. That little copper roof, or whatever that is, I think it's going to be good. My palette unfortunately dried out. I forgot to, I was being lazy actually. I put distilled water in the wet palette, and that's just to give the paint the best shot of staying the way it should. I don't want to use tap water or anything like that. And I ran out of distilled water, and I didn't want to put anything else in it. Now Ryan had mentioned about the possibility of using 4011 in it, and I have an extra. That's way too thin. I have an extra one of these little the chamois pad underneath, so I'm going to need to have one ready to go as a sacrifice, because if the 4011 does weird things to it, then I'm going to end up ruining it, which is fine. But it might be worth a try. It depends on if 4011 can get through the parchment the right way, but if that works, that will be pretty amazing. So that's on the list of things to do. So thank you, Ryan. That was it was a good idea to try out, test out. I should have done it on this last pass because it was dried out anyway. But I ended up just getting more distilled water and just rolling with it. Okay. So this is the building with the little squares on the top. So this little copper roof is kind of over here. I'm saying it's copper. It's not, but looks like it's copper colored. And I'm making this way too big. What am I doing? I'm trying to get fired up. Yeah, I'm in a totally wrong spot for that. Oh well. It's okay. It's all right. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's fine. How is your Wednesday going? How is your week going? Hopefully pretty good. Excellent. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I know I'm in the comments with you right now. But I will say this from past Steve, thank you all for hanging out and supporting what I'm doing here. I really love where the YouTube channel has kind of settled in. And I know I keep saying it, but it was important to me. That was the big drive, a year and a half ago, to get the YouTube channel up and running the way I wanted it. And honestly, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I knew what I wanted from it, but I didn't know how that was going to happen. What was going to be the best thing. I've had good luck with live feeds on Facebook, so I thought that might be, something that was going to, be a thing. And I tried that for a little bit. And then the Tech Tuesday, which I think, will definitely be back. Oh, this is good. Okay. I'm starting to get caught up on this. Sorry. The more I work on this, the more I'll get caught up on it, and the more refined I'll get. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Tech Tuesday will definitely be something that'll pop in and out. I don't think it'll be a regular thing like it was, but it'll definitely, I'll definitely add on to what I've already got in Tech Tuesday. So if you enjoyed those, have faith. They will be back too. And then, again, I film these in advance, so I'm not sure when this airs what will actually have come to pass. But as of the filming of this, I'm having an issue with Facebook as far as connection, and keeps bumping me offline, and that really affects the live feed and all that fun stuff. So the idea at this point is, and I'd love to get it to work, is to move the live feed, the Monday Night Live, over to YouTube. So I'm not sure as of this filming whether that actually happened, but we are aiming that way. All right. Michael McClung a few weeks ago commented on the new squeaky chair. I bought this basically just an office chair, because the Visionaire is a lot lower than my drafting station, so my drafting table. So I needed a new chair that was going to work with this, and so I just bought an office chair. But I bought the super cheap office chair, and it is crying under the weight of me. So now we get a new squeaky chair. All right, great. Yeah, so you guys are really, really close, which is great. I figured out, where to put the camera to get it to work. Another funny note too, not that it matters, but it matters to me. So I have these little 4-ounce bottles of that I use for the reducer. So you'll notice this reducer is an odd gray color. Don't ask me how it happened. I don't know. But a drop of black paint got in the reducer when I was filling this up. So now I've got gray reducer. And I am super cheap, and I'm like, oh, what do I do with this? I can't mix this in paint, because it'll add the black to it. But I'm using it just for the paintbrush stuff, because paintbrush stuff doesn't really matter. Totally bummed me out. I'm like, what happened? It's just the life, I guess. All right, so that's good. That little guy's good. Bronze is in. All right, we'll do some of the buildings around it, I think. All right. So this is, what I'm doing here is I had the copper roof, or I'm going to keep calling it copper, but I had this roof in the wrong spot. So now I can just kind of go in and put the other buildings in around it, and that will just naturally erase it. So it's the nice thing about these paintings is, like I said many times before, they're all basically mistake after mistake, and you just end up fixing them, and then it's done when the last mistake has been fixed. So, and that's totally true. So I've mentioned this a bunch of times. The thing that's done for me over doing these paintings is it's relieved me of worrying about things, because, when stuff just keeps going wrong, because, you're working at a weird, challenging level, you just get used to fixing things, and then all of a sudden you're not worried about mistakes. Mistakes are gonna happen, and then it's just given me this freedom that's really weird. It's nice, I love it, but it wasn't expected. I've told the story a bunch of times. When I was doing a lot of the aviation work, the bigger stuff, I'd have multiple versions of the same painting, because I would get it to a point, something catastrophic would happen, and I'd have to start it all over again. And that's a super drag, right? To have to restart an entire painting. Nowadays, though, even on a bigger painting, if something goes sideways, it's like, okay, weigh the value of fixing it versus, starting it over. And rarely do I have to start paintings over now. It has to be something really bad, or it happens super early in the process. If it happens really early, then it's not worth fixing. You just end up cutting your losses and starting it over again. Oops, sorry, I did a bad thing and did not silence my phone, so it's going to keep going off too. So I apologize for that. I'm not going to take the time to silence it now. I will do it immediately following this episode, so you guys get to hear all the announcements. All right. This paint dried out. It's just about dead, but again, I'm super cheap, and I'm going to keep running with it till it just doesn't work, for me. You guys are so ridiculously close. It's awesome. There's no real airbrushing that's going to go on in here in this little tiny area here. It's just, it's so small, and there's not really any of the, kind of this kind of deal going on where you can like see down into, between the two buildings. So that would make a nice little fade. These guys here are so close together. You can't really get that. You could, if it was a bigger painting, you could get in there and, between these little buildings, just kind of, shade them at the bottom just to kind of ground them and everything. But these guys are so small that it's not going to really make a difference in here. You're not going to even see it, and it's tough to control. If I go and try to pop a little bit of airbrushing in there, I need to use a little bit of a template to just make sure I don't get paint where it shouldn't go. But yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm happy with that little bunch right there. All right, so that one, this one here. I might as well drop the windows in this one. Actually, let's finish this side. So I'm going to need a lighter gray for this. Even this building here, I could airbrush this. I could cut it out. I need a lighter gray. But I'm just going to paint it because it's small enough. Once I get the gray that I need, that's good. It's good. It needs to be like just a hair darker than the top. Like that. That is beautiful. And before anyone asks, because it has happened, like I'll do like a building and I'll be looking at another building and I'll put in windows and stuff, and then I'll realize it's the wrong building. So that happens too. Because you get so, tied up in whatever, and then happen to glance at another building and, put in the wrong things. But I think I get the right one now. This little guy has a few windows along here. Good. And a little something on the roof. I don't know what it is. Good. Yeah. Okay, let's get the windows in on this one. There's a little street here too, which I probably should airbrush in. But we'll do that after, when we move over, when we keep moving. I think I'm going to do this little area right here first. And then go from there, and then keep moving over. But yeah, there's another little street here. Okay, so we got windows on this guy, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are tight, so we'll see what we can do here. 1, 2, 3. I'm keeping an eye on this roof line right here to get this line in. They're not going to be good because this paint is drying out, but which again means I'm going to have to fix them. So there's 1, 2, 3. Do I have enough to get this done, or do I have to fix these? Well, I'm definitely going to have to fix them. 4, 5. It's just below the roof, so 6. There we go. That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. That middle one is janky. Okay. I should have rotated that. I would have had a better shot at it, so I will rotate it to fix it. So we'll rotate it to here. Grab this dark gray. So this is nice because I have the dark gray now. What I can do is I can go between these and just like kind of clean them up. The gray here is really thin, so it's going to take a few passes, but I'm more concerned with accuracy than coverage here. So it's okay that it's thin. It just means I have to go over it a few more times, which is fine. Like I said, I'd rather have that than try to get it in one shot and then have it be all, like I said, worse. That's good. All 6 are in. All right, so I'll give you an idea how close you are here. Let me grab my ruler. Oops, they're way underneath. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So the area you can see is 2 inches across by probably 1 inch. Just about, yeah, just about a little less than 1 inch, 7/8 of an inch. So that's how close you are. So if you go grab a ruler and draw a 1 inch by 2 inch square, that shows you the size. And I'll zip out again at the end to show you kind of where we're at. I'm feeling though airbrushing on, can't even point that small, this one here. See the bottom of that? It would be nice to tuck that in a little bit. I think I'm going to do that. I think I can get away with a piece of paper with that too. So we're going to go with the really, really reduced black. This is 1 part paint to 20 parts reducer. As I just want to give a tiny little hint of shading on this. If I go with anything stronger, like 1 to 10 even, I'm not going to get like the subtlety that I need. All right, so what I want to do is I want to block off this roof here, but I also want to block off the other roof, this roof this way. So I'm going to need another piece of paper for that. Do I have something that I can use? It's small. Hold that thought. I could just grab a template up above too, but paper works. So what I'm doing is I'm just blocking off everything down below, so I just get that building. Now there's a little, I got to be careful not to get on this little guy right here, but that's okay. I'm just going for this bottom corner here. And again, the same thing. Oh, as I move this, I meant to move my finger, not the paper. There we go. I'm going to be spraying at the paper here, and the overspray, the little bit of extra paint, is what I'm looking for. So just get it started, and then I can just creep up on the edge of that, right in the corner. Not too much, just enough to drop that in there. And it's amazing how those little tiny things all, sorry about the shakiness, those little tiny things all like blend together in this painting. And again, you're super close. Like, what is that? That building is like a 32nd of an inch across. You know, that side that I just painted on. But again, all those little tiny things, those are really what pulls together and makes the whole thing work. And I've said it before, you know, one of the cool comments that I get sometimes on my work is that when you see them for real, they look three-dimensional. They really look like, you know, it's a little carving. And that's the reason why, is because of that you know, the collection of all that shading, you know. It really does, like, your brain just kind of says, okay, this is real. You know what I mean? It can't process everything, so it just blends everything together, and that's what you get. And it's neat. It's a neat effect. So, all right. We haven't had a good soapbox yet today, so I'll have to think about that. All right, where do I go from here? Where do we go from here now that all of the children are growing up? Sing along with me, kids. Let's do this this guy down here. I think that's going to be good. This guy, but I got to do this up here too. What are we going to do with this? Let's look at the photocopy. Again, when I can't decide, it's nice to look at the photocopy, and then we can kind of figure it out. This gray building here, this one right here, that's the one I'm looking at right now. Yeah, because if I can not, instead of moving this way, you know, left, we'll lock out this one and then we'll be good. So this I'm going to need to either make some cuts or just go for it. How are we feeling? I'm going to make some cuts. I think that's the way to go. So I'm still kind of warming up. Again, I do these videos, you know, like 3 or 4 at a time. So this is the first one in the group. So I want to make sure we're doing the best we can. So, you know, later on when I've got, you know, 2 hours in on this, I could probably just, you know, go for it. But yeah, you know, it's okay to help yourself out, you know. That may be my soapbox for today. You know, it's the same thing. You know, do I want to say that this thing was 100% freehand? First of all, you can't do this painting with just an airbrush. It's just, I mean, if you can, but it's going to be a different thing. It's not going to be, you know, what this is. It just physically can't. You know what I mean? And trust me, I am the guy. You know, if someone says, "Oh, you can't do that," that's the first thing I do is find out if I can do that. You know. But having done a bunch of these, you can't get this paintbrush detail with an airbrush. You can get close. And like I said, you could do this whole painting with just an airbrush, but it's going to be a different painting. It's not going to be this. It just physically can't. Just like, you know, you can't do a paintbrush, you know, painting with a paintbrush and have the same kind of airbrush effect. You know, you can come close to it, really close, but it's going to be different. So there are my little cuts right there. Wait, you can't see them. There they are right there. Obviously, we really got to make sure this is lined up correctly because it doesn't do us any good if it's not, right? And I'm feeling good about that. Jumbo magnet time. All right, I have the really super thin black in this, and that's not going to help me. The reason why is because I can't build that up dark enough through these little cut lines. If I do, it's just I have to go over it a million times, and then it's, you know, chances of that blowing out, you know, kind of spidering underneath are extremely good. So it's just going to make a mess. So I'm going to grab the lesser reduced black. This is 1 part paint to 1 part reducer, which is still, you know, crazy, over reduced, but it's much thicker than the other one. So this now, I can go on very dry and just keep going back and forth on these little cut lines, and it'll put the windows in for me. I'll have to adjust them, but it'll definitely give me a good jump on it. Has anyone guessed the song yet from the lyrics? I'll let you guys figure it out. Now this, I know this building, I've already based it in with a dark gray, so I'm going to go over this a bunch. So I really want this super opaque black, because if not, I won't even be able to see him. So why did I cut out my reference? This is my reference copy. Well, I have a few more, so that's good. All right, fingers crossed, because I'm just going to look. Perfect. See that? Perfect. I love it when it works. That's my other t-shirt. There's what could go wrong, and then I love it when it works. All right. Ooh, that's lovely. That makes me a happy camper. Okay, good. The windows are wider than what's there right now, but that is just stunning. That's really good. So now we can just thicken them up a little bit. Oh, I keep grabbing this. This looks like black to you guys right here. It's not. I was using it in another painting. It's actually I call the color Blumber. It's black and burnt umber, and I use it a lot, or used to use it a lot more than, you know, I did now that they have the opaque black, because opaque black has a really kind of a warm brownish color to it anyway, but that I used a lot, and I use it on a painting. So the problem is when it's on the wet palette, it looks like black until you spread it out, and then it's like a brownish sepia color, which is, it's just a beautiful color, and you can do a lot with it as far as shading and that kind of fun stuff. But it wouldn't have mattered if I used it right here, but still. All right, so let's thicken these up a little bit. So I know, tragedy, I can't talk when I do this because these are really close together. Let's see what we got. And to those also wondering, yes, when I do stuff like that, I hold my breath. It's just the way to go. There's too much water in this palette. That's not good. Oh well. All right. And it gets really dark down the bottom, so we're good there. All right, so the other thing is this upright. That really worked out well. There are divisions in that, like tall, vertical divisions. So we're gonna have to come up with a darker gray that matches that background on the building. So we're gonna start with this. Well, it's probably gonna be too light, so we'll go this. See what we got. This is also going to be the edge of the building here. Sorry about that. Yeah, see, this is not going to match, but I think, all right, well, we're using Blumber. What happens is, if I just mix opaque white and black, I get like kind of a bluish, a bluish gray, because the white adds that bluish to it. But when you just airbrush opaque black and just put it on thinly like I did here, it has a very warm cast to it, a brownish cast. So in order to match that, I got to use Blumber, which is up here. So this has a lot of that brown in it. You can see that when I kind of pull that out a little bit. Now that's too brown, so I'll add a little bit more black to it. Let's see what this does here. So we're going for that brownish black gray. I think that's good. Oh, excuse me. Let's try it on this. Oh, that's lovely. That's perfect. See how it just kind of matches? And you'd never guess that this is like a well, you can see it. It's like a brown, like a dirty brown color. But on the painting, it looks, like a gray. It just looks like gray. So, Blumber to the rescue again. There is no formula for Blumber either. So, I just kind of, there are different versions of it, like, the darker version and a lighter version and all that fun stuff. But that's just freaking awesome. That works out good. All right, I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. All right, we don't have much time left, so why don't we lock out the roof on this building? This building has like a kind of a reddish roof. So we'll do that, and then we'll finish this building on the next episode and keep moving along. I don't know if this is going to cover. This is pretty thin, but all I got to do is push this a little bit to the red, because you can't really see it. You can make it out, but it's pretty subtle. So we're just gonna kind of, and that didn't come out very good. The roof didn't come out very good. But again, I'll fix it with everything else. But I'm okay with that. That's not completely terrible. All right, let's jump back to the full view of this so you can get an idea of what we've done. Again, on this episode, you really can't see too much between last episode and this episode, but we've got another building pretty much locked in, 2 of them, or a bunch of them, really, these little ones in the middle. So, all right. So thank you very much for everything, for hanging out with me. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you enjoy this. And please, if you know someone who would get a kick out of it, please share the video or tell someone about it. And that would mean a lot to me. And there we go. All right, and if you'd like to support us financially, keep the lights on for real, you can do what these lovely people have done. And this will give you a 10% discount on anything on my store, including originals. And also you get early access to the time-lapse video every week. So it's a lot of fun. All right, so for Steve Leahy and Open Studio and the painting Lachlan's Eyes, I will catch you guys all next week. Thanks a lot.